Hey everyone, and welcome back to Timeless. We're back playing the best deck in the format, and that's not just my opinion coming through. If you ask just about anybody, they would put this deck and Show and Tell as number 1 and 2 in the format, very close to each other, with a significant gap between them and the number 3 deck in the format. Timeless really has become a 2 deck format competitively, and that's not to say that you can only play 2 decks. It's just that those 2 decks are very strong, very represented, and the decks and their deck building has a significant knock-on effect on the rest of the meta. So let's talk really quick about the current construction of Mardu energy, its effect on the meta, and how it itself inserts it into the meta, what the role of this deck is, and what you should know before playing it. And then after that, we can get into some gameplay. We'll play 2 or 3 games in a row, win or lose, and just post them. All right, so we don't need to go over the energy core. This is a busted core of creatures that tore up Modern, led to an Amped Raptor ban. We're Mardu, so we also get to play Orcish Bowmasters in this Brainstorm format. It's absolutely fantastic. The rest of the cards are where the decision making in deck building comes. And these are all specifically chosen for the current format. Juggernaut Peddler is an incredibly strong card. It would be crazy powerful in paper. Like, I was reading some Modern discourse lately after the bannings, and this card would screw up Modern if it was legal. This is a 2 mana Thought-Knot Seer. 2 mana, exile a card from your opponent's hand. They do not get it back no matter what, even if they kill the creature. This is also a 2/2 Vigilance, which is a very good rate for a creature that is doing something that's strong on ETB. Juggernaut Peddler is one of the strongest quote-unquote sideboard cards in the format right now, to the point where we're main decking it. And honestly, I could even see myself main decking 4 Juggernaut Peddlers. The only reason we're not main decking 4 Peddlers right now, and we've actually split it 2 Thoughtseizes, 2 Peddlers, is for mana curve considerations. Because we're playing the energy package, we gotta play 4 Ajani's, we gotta play 4 Amped Raptors, we gotta play the 4 total Nightmare plus Bombardment to go with the Ajani. You can argue maybe you could shave one of them. You have to play 4 Bowmasters to play in this Brainstorm format, right? Bowmaster is also very good in mirror matches with this deck. It's good against Show and Tell, good against Blue Black, good against this deck. It's good everywhere, right? So that is 16, maybe 15 if you don't want to include the Nightmare 2 drops that you already have in the deck. So getting up to 20 with Juggernaut Peddler, that's a lot to ask for. So that's why we've chosen to split this. Just because frequently on turn 3 you do want a double spell. So being able to go 2-drop a plus Thoughtseize is much better than being stuck with multiple Juggernaut Peddlers in your hand. Like I said, we are putting Thoughtseize in the main deck. It is not the best card in the main deck, but there are enough combo decks running around in the format, and we want to respect them by playing these 4 discard spells in our main deck. We do go up to 8 discard spells. If you look at the sideboard, we will go up to all 4 Thoughtseizes and all 4 Juggernaut Peddlers. I'll talk about sideboarding later, but I think there is a strong enough presence of combo decks in the format to warrant this. This is also pretty decent against the blue-black Psychic Frog decks that people insist on playing. It lets you have perfect information on their hand. It lets you take their critical piece of either card draw, counterspell, or removal, and it lets you play around their hand very effectively and win games. As much as there's been a lot of jokes running around, including ones perpetuated about me calling this deck the easy bake oven aggro deck, and saying that it is very easy. There is a lot of skill to it, especially in mirrors and in navigating those crazy matchups against Psychic Frog, where they have a lot of resources, they have a lot of removal, they have a lot of answers. So you need to be very careful about how you navigate around those. Having a little bit of information off of Thoughtseize, it helps a lot. Hopefully we get matched against Blue Black today so I can talk through it, because it is interesting. The removal suite is similar to Modern. Of course, we have Static Prison plus Discharge. We're only playing 3 Static Prison, not 4, just because the cumulative energy upkeep on these gets to be a lot if you're in any game that goes longer than a couple of turns. So we're just playing 3, not 4. In the past, I've played 2, but this is a very, very, very strong card. It is especially strong game 1 against Show and Tell. It's one of your outs to them. Like, if they just cast Show and Tell on turn 3, you can put a Static Prison into play and exile their Omniscience, or whatever they cheated into play. They could have something like Born Upon a Wind to beat it, but most Show and Tell players who just jam the card that early aren't necessarily going to have it in their hand. They won't have their sideboard cards yet. So this is a way to beat them. It is at least an out on game 1, but Show and Tell players are getting smarter. They're learning to play around this. Another thing in deck construction is Ragavan. I have changed the number of Ragavans in this deck quite a few times, from 0 copies to as high as 3, maybe even 4 at one point in some builds of Energy. The amount of copies of this guy does vary a lot, because he is a very, very strong card, but he is also a very, very... Glass Cannon's not the right word, it's fragile. It's a fragile card, right? It's a 2/1 in a Bowmaster's format. This guy gets blocked by any creature in the format. It gets killed by any removal spell in the format. But it does have a lot of things going for it. So first, it's the lightning rod for removal, right? If I have a triple 1-drop hand that's like Ragavan, Guide Pride, I play the Ragavan turn 1, this has to be answered on the spot, and then I get to resolve these two guys together. Or I get to like cleanly resolve a Johnny without my opponent being able to answer it right away. Or I get to look at their hand, right? So he does have that role. Still very, very strong against show and tell and the other unfair decks that aren't necessarily respecting the board and they're just trying to combo as quickly as possible. These decks aren't putting their own creatures down and they don't have enough removal spells in game 1. So this guy either forces that deck to use like their one and only removal spell, or he connects every single turn, providing 2 damage and consistent pressure and also mana ramp. So if you drop the turn on Ragavan, he doesn't get answered. Sure, you're going to hit like the top card of the Belcher deck and going to get an unplayable MDFC, but now you have 3 mana in play. With that 3 mana, you get to play a 2-drop and Thoughtseize to disrupt them. Or you play Guide of Souls followed up by Anajani, and you make a bunch of board pressure really, really fast. So this guy's very good against unfair decks, and I sideboard this guy out frequently. If we're against any sort of creature decks, if we're against Blue-Black Frog, he comes out because I got Bowmasters and a million removal spells. In the mirror, he's usually coming out. Sometimes on the play, we will keep him in, but it's really dependent on my opponent's deck and what they're running and whether or not I think this monkey can connect and whether or not I have better cards in my sideboard for the matchup. I also have 2 swords as removal spells. We had more copies of this, especially in the sideboard in the past. We're only running the 2. This is an incredibly strong card, but actually let's segue right into the sideboard construction, right? Because we're pretty much there. It's because of this guy, Portable Hole, on the sideboard. The only other thing to mention is the mana base. I play 2 Surveillance. I know a lot of people do not like Surveillance and Energy, and if you don't, that's fine. You can cut them from the list. You can take out this Parlor and play an extra Sacred Foundry. You could even play 0 Surveillance. I know Energy players who are very, very good and high-ranked Mythic who play 0, and that's totally fine. Personal preference right there. All right, sideboarding. So there's been evolutions in the sideboard technology. One of them is to play Portable Hole, because Portable Hole is really, really strong when you think about the meta. Mardu Energy at the top of it, Lurrus Psychic Frog decks also at the top of it. So this card is just Swords to Plowshares, but sorcery speed, but it also gets to hit all the non-creature permanents. Critically, that's Goblin Bombardment in the mirror. That's a flip to Johnny in the mirror. That's a flip Tamiyo against the Blue-Black Frog decks. That's any sideboard artifact or enchantment that your opponent might have. You can hit it with the Portable Hole. And the Portable Hole doesn't have the issue Static Prison does, where you have to pay the energy upkeep. This is just a better version of Static Prison. And in my opinion, it was better than Swords to Plowshares, so the sideboard Swords to Plowshares have been swapped into Portable Hole, and I went up to all 4 copies of it. Like, I have found this card performing very, very well. I think it's going to stay that way. If the meta does move away from Lurrus and it stops being that, like, the top decks are playing Lurrus, then you're probably going to want to go back to playing Swords to Plowshares, but for now, play Portable Hole. But yeah, this deck and what I'd call the number 3 deck in the format, which is the Psychic Frog decks, are very vulnerable to this, so keep playing it. And, you know, there's debate as to whether or not Psychic Frog is actually a number 3 deck in the format, but I'll tell you, it's the most common deck on ladder. People just love playing, like, blue-black frog piles, so keep playing this, dude. As for, oh yeah, we also have 2 Unlicensed Hearse for that matchup. So when we sideboard against the Psychic Frog, there's the Portable Holes and the Unlicensed Hearses that are usually coming in. Usually it's Ragavan, Thoughtseizes, and whatever I feel is worst against their particular build that will come out alongside that. The rest is mostly for combo decks. Number 1 card being Deafening Silence. This card is very, very strong against Show and Tell. It's strong against Dark Ritual decks. It prevents a lot of combo decks from actually being able to win while it's in play. It prevents the Omnitel player from going off of Omniscience. It prevents the Jetstorm player from recurring Chthonian Nightmare again and again and again. It prevents anybody with Dark Ritual in their deck from using Dark Ritual to play a non-creature spell, which is what they're doing 99% of the time with that Dark Ritual. Just against different decks, you want to play this a little bit differently. Against Show and Tell, you actually don't want to put this onto the battlefield unless you have multiple copies in your hand. You want to let them cast the card Show and Tell and put this into play for free to try and screw them up so they can't use a removal spell on it first. But when you were against a Dark Ritual deck, for example, you actually want to play this turn 1 so they can't go like Dark Ritual into Necro on turn 1. And then when you're playing against a different combo deck that won't have a turn 1 Dark Ritual line and doesn't have Show and Tell, then you want to play this on like turn 2 or 3 after you play your initial threats. It's all matchup dependent. And then we have more Thoughtseizes and more Peddlers, and that's pretty straightforward. You want more discard, the guys come in. 8 discard spells. They're all absolutely fantastic. I removed one from my sideboard. But Juggernaut Peddler is incredibly, incredibly strong in the format. I was thinking about like reconfiguring my main deck slightly, like maybe adding more Peddlers. I think about it from time to time, but I do like this current configuration. I was thinking maybe we could pull like these cards out of the main deck, play third Ragavan, third Peddler in the main deck, maybe put a Swords in, maybe put a Portable Hole in the main. You can still play with this formula a little bit, especially if you play ladder a lot and you say, hey, I'm not seeing that much show and tell. I'm seeing a lot of Psychic Frog decks. Let me tech for Psychic Frog. You can totally do that. And I encourage you to like keep innovating and keep working on the deck. The deck hasn't changed a huge amount since like, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 months, since it got pretty refined a few months after Modern Horizons 3. But there have been changes, right? I didn't used to be a person who liked to play main deck Thoughtseize, but here we are. We're playing it, right? The sideboard has like completely turned over in that time. Other than maybe Deafening Silence being a mainstay. This card just wins games in Timeless. All right, I think that's enough yapping for me. One more thing on the deck's role in the meta, because I did want to say that. So this deck is a high-powered aggro deck, and it's really cool and unique that a vintage style no ban list format actually has an aggro deck at the top of it. And you need to understand your role when you play each matchup, and it changes a lot. This deck is harder than you think to play. Like I know the skill floor is pretty low, where like any idiot can just like net deck this, slam an Amped Raptor, and hit like the right card if they sideboarded, right? But when you comes to playing this deck optimally, especially in mirrors, there is a lot of skill. Mirrors, you are generally like trying to control the board, contain your opponent's threats, and get yourself into a place where you can overwhelm them. And that often involves like sandbagging threats in your hand very unexpectedly. When you're playing against Blue-Black Frog, for instance, you want to play around all of their potential answers. There are Mana Drain Bowmasters deck, and a Fatal Push deck, a deck that could flip Tamiyo. You need to respect all of those things. But generally against combo decks, you're just like slapping your shit on the board. Not as much nuance to it, right? It's just go fast and interrupt against those decks. But what keeps me coming back to this deck is that the matchups versus creature decks are really, really interesting. Also, one more part of the meta I didn't mention, Boros energy. There's a second mean way to build energy. I don't see it too often on ladder anymore, but it is something that goes up and down in popularity with time. It was pretty popular like a month ago. Is you build this deck, but with the One Ring instead. You play the One Ring, you play Flage. Playing cards like One Ring and Flage means your matchups against unfair decks are going to be worse, because those cards are too slow for those matchups. The Show and Tell player will just kill you. They do not care you have a One Ring in play. You spend 4 mana on a ring against that deck, you are going to lose the game, right? However, if you spend 4 mana on the ring, you are going to beat this deck. The ring and Flage put together will absolutely outvalue Lurrus. They will smother you in this deck. So that is a tough matchup. So if decks like that started to get more meta share, you would be inclined to tech your deck to beat those. Or you could maybe even adopt that deck. But understand that if you do play Boros energy with the ring, you are going to lose a lot of percentage points against unfair decks. And yes, you can play Mardu energy with the ring as well. I'm not saying that you can't, but it's just tough to make the deck slots work, right? Because you need to cut 8 cards to make room for Flage Ring. The obvious thing to do is just cut all the black cards, but you could play black in that deck and try to recover the percentage points, but still, you're playing 3 drops and 4 drops that don't win the game immediately against decks that do have 3 drops and 4 drops that win the game immediately. So it's tough if you're playing that version. I think I'll make a video of that version next, just because I haven't in a while, and a lot of people do like it, and I want to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of it and how I would build it. All right, that's enough yapping for me. Let's go to the gameplay. Oh, I stopped recording and forgot to start again. I was talking to myself for a second, but we didn't make any decisions yet. We saw we were on the draw against No Companion. No Companion generally means unfair, and I said, well, unfair decks usually blue. Bowmasters is pretty good against them. Static Prisons is also one of our main deck outs to things like Show and Tell and Omniscience into play, right? So I was happy to keep this. Discharge might be an unfair card. Right, so what is my opponent up to? Are they jet storming, perhaps? That could definitely be it. They end up taking my Ajani, and they saw all of my interaction too, which is super interesting. So No Companion, Black Source. I mean, I'm sure this is a Jetstorm variant. DT for Boggart Bog. This could also just be a big mono black midrange deck, like I've liked playing recently. We played the black deck with Psychic Frog in it. That was really fun. It could be that. We have Static Vision to answer the ring in that case. Let's go ahead and grab a black-white source for the Bowmaster boy over here. think we will put the fourth land away for now. And then I will go ahead and... I want a red source in play. Yeah, we'll go ahead and fetch a red source with that, so that we can play Amtraptor cleanly next turn. They did get to DT for something here. Unfortunately, we don't have discard in this hand, so might be SOL for game one of this matchup. I don't know exactly what they're playing, though. I would assume black midrange until I see another card. I guess black midrange, we just need to lean on Static Prison and use it well. That's all I'm going to say. It's one of the clean ways to answer a Shieldred out of a ring. Necro Dominance. Wait, why'd you keep that? I have a Bowmaster. Why didn't you take my Bowmaster with Inquisition? Unless they just drew the Necro Dom. Well, unfortunate for them. So if they choose to draw cards here, just shoot them. I would like to shoot you with Bowmasters, please. Ding. Alright, cool. Alright, what are we going to do here? Part of me wants to remove Necrodom with Prison. Right? Part of me wants to do that, because they could have a removal spell for our Bowmaster. I think what I should do here is I play Amtraptor, I see what it hits. There's a good chance it misses, it hits something like Swords to Plowshares. But if it hits, it's going to influence my decision. Bombardment, sure. I think we let them keep this Necrodom. We straight up let them keep it. And we say you cannot draw a meaningful amount of cards off of this, because we have you at 8 effective life. If we bombard you with everything, you need to remove Bowmasters before you can even think about drawing more cards here. We are going to get griefed. I do not care. They take my Static Prison, which sucks. Static Prison is a clean answer to like whatever nonsense this deck might be playing. They also might slam a Shieldred here, which is why they took Swords. But because of Apnap, I win, right? If they slam a Shieldred. Chat, help me out. Do we win because of Apnap? We're the non-active player, which means our stuff's going to resolve first. Means if they try to gain life with Shieldred off of this, I should just shoot them. Unless I'm misremembering here. I don't know what my opponent's outs are. They have to clear Bowmasters and like play a Shieldred. Yeah, Bombardment's messed up against them because they don't get to gain life here. I don't know if they like land Dark Ritual Shieldred, then I guess I'll go kick rocks or something. Reanimate my own frickin' Bowmasters. Toxic. Alright. Yeah, so here they're going to target my Raptor. We're just going to trade them off like this. If you sacrifice the target of a Bowmaster King, they don't get the 1/1, which is very notable. In a situation like this, they don't get to block here. They cannot go to 3 or lower. Yes, they go to 4 here. If I draw another creature, it is lethal. It is lethal, ladies and gentlemen. Sweet. Still don't know exactly what my opponent is playing. I'm going to guess it's just like fair black midrange with brief Necro Dominance. I tried working on black midrange. I don't like Necro variants in it. I much prefer the ring, but my opponent is high rank gaming, which is like super interesting. So I'm definitely interested in what they've been cooking. I think Juggernaut Peddler is kind of S tier against these strategies. Just turn those rings and Necros and Shieldreds into little Juggernauts. This charge is probably going to be mid. Curse is a possible include because we saw them using Reanimate. Dude, Reanimate and Necrodom in the same deck, that's so sus. I'm not to flame my opponent. They've been having success with the deck. They're high rank. We're also glitching out right here. Look at the visual bug. So I'm thinking, what comes out, right? It could be Ragavan comes out on the draw against like the Bowmaster's black removal deck. We could play Deafening Silence against them because they're like a Dark Ritual deck. They're not, I'm assuming they're mid-range, right? We don't want to lean too hard on discard when we're up against mid-range. I think we're going to play like this. And until proven that they're like a hard combo deck, we're going to keep the Thoughtseizes out. And if they are a hard combo deck, then we'll take out these removal spells for creatures. And we'll play a bit more discard. Or even play Deafening Silence if it messes with the combo, or Hearse. I just don't know what they're playing enough yet. Cool to see something new. I played against like Energy and Psychic Frog 8 times today. I was like, alright, I know exactly what to sideboard for the video. No, I don't. Not a clue in this matchup. Them going first. Do we like this? One lander. It's a really good one land. It's got Amps Raptor. It's got the bombardment. We do need to hit land number 2. Keep this. Another thing we have to consider is grief scam. We might get scammed. I think we're gonna keep this. This deck is very resilient against scam our deck. Because our deck is pretty much just a pile of cheap threats and interaction, right? So if they thought sees us, all of our cards are roughly analogous, and the cards we draw off the top of the deck are also roughly analogous to what's in our hand, right? So grief scamming really does not mess up the deck. It just draws more creatures and more removal off the top, and it just keeps on plugging along. Interesting Inquisition here from our opponent. I think the number 1 card they have to clear out of my hand is Goblin Bombardment, because it messes with their life gain. Yeah, Goblin Bombardment is just kind of crazy. Drawing yet another 1-drop. Would I rather just, like, fetch Sacred Foundry here? I was thinking about surveilling, but, like, these MFs, I think we just get them. This 1-lander could absolutely be a mistake, but, like, there's too much gas in this hand to say no to it. Also, Goblin Bombardment, just incredibly strong against opponent's deck. But they keep 1-for-1ing us with removal. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to play another efficient 1-drop. You're going to try to remove it again. I'm going to play another efficient 1-drop. And we'll play the game. The problem is when they play the Necro, then it goes to shit. Then they just draw too many cards. Alright, March. Yeah. Again, like, you gain 2 life. I really don't care. Another Ocelot. Right. I would love to draw land at some point, but I won't complain, as long as I have the ability to play cards. However, we're running out of that ability rather quickly. I don't think that's necessarily mulligan. Like, if I knew confidently exactly what my opponent was playing, I could mulligan with a bit more confidence. It's just Shieldred. It's fine. We're going to draw the card and hit this with Static Prison. Ooh, another Static Prison. We Static Prison this. We can use these discharges to gain more energy in a pinch. We absolutely need to. Because this is the concern, right? Shieldred's going to come back eventually on this board state. Oh yeah, you're not getting Shieldred back, buddy. Good thing is, Black deck cannot answer Static Prison well. I hope they go to 1 HP and don't find March. I really hope they do that. A 7 here. If they found March, that's pretty bad for us. Not the worst. Alright, I would love to draw a land so that we could stick Amps Raptor and then just cascade into the perfect card for the situation. Because, you know, I'm a Mardu player. I'm allowed to get lucky every so often. Alright. Big action. So we can Static Prison Necrodom. We're allowed to. But I think my opponent's at 10 life. I think the downsides of their card are going to be felt very soon. I think what I want to do is I want to, like, discharge my own cat token very soon. If not right now. Yeah, we don't have to do it. They might play something that I actually want to discharge, like a Bowmasters. Not that I really need to remove Bowmasters. There just might be something. We could also just, like, replay Prison to, like, re-prison Shieldred. I don't even know what they take here. I guess Prison. Take Swords, sure. They're gonna Dark Ritual play another Shieldred. I'm gonna draw a zillion cards. Zillion being the scientific term. Grief. Sure, buddy. I just let them take whatever they want. And then make an eye decision after. We take Raptor just because it's so efficient. Let's let them draw their cards. How many are you gonna draw, buddy? I'm gonna draw to 5. Okay. I'm gonna clear this grief. We're gonna see if they let me. They could do something like march their own grief in response. That would be a pretty heads-up play. Cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and attack them. And we're just hoping that they're Necro locked. I mean, there's not much else we could do when we're on 1 mana, right? We had a few draw steps to it at this point, and we didn't get there. Dark Ritual, never great to see. Shieldred, yeah. So they get to gain a bit of life here, but not that much. Because they can only pay 5, so they can only go +5 life here. I think I'm cool with that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to let our prison pop in the upkeep. I might put it as the discard down too, so it's fine. They don't really get to use removal spells on anything valuable. I'm okay with this. We're going to let this break, Legend Rule Shieldreds, and then we'll play a new one. It's just +2 energy that way. Really +3 energy if you think about it, because then I skip having to pay an upkeep cost. Oh, discard cards, buddy. I don't work for free. Alright, draw. Resolve. Alright, we're gonna decline here. And then we're gonna play the other one. Blizzard Rule to get to keep 1. It gets perma-exiled too, which is really neat. No reanimate shenanigans are gonna come through today. Yeah, that's why I don't like Necrodom as a card so much, because how you build this deck is you want to do the funny grief thing. You want to like reanimate your own Shieldreds when they die, but you just can't. Dark Ritual into God knows what. I don't know what. Help me out. What are they going to cast? If it's a March, they could have just done it the normal way. It is a March. Okay. They're at 15, which is unfortunate for me. That means there's a lot of necroing that could happen coming up. Yep, drawing a few cards. Alright, we're hoping for land. I know this is a land light deck, but we're at 43% to draw one. We've had a couple turns to hit our percent. My opponent's just taking a little bit of time to decide what to discard. Because of Necrodom, it's all going to get exiled, so it's gone forever. And what's gone forever is the Necropotence and some answers. Nope, we drew Chthonian Nightmare, which I don't think is a card that should be in the deck after sideboarding. But it is how it is. Right, my opponent's got the Bowmasters. They're going to be ready to be on the beatdown. I'm going to just take this as an opportunity to gain a little bit of energy, because we have a couple turns ahead of us here, okay? They might use a removal spell on their own Bowmasters. If they do, I guess that's a partial win for me. Yeah, they march their own Bowmasters. They're running out of marches, which is actually very notable. 1 march, 2 march, 3 march. Not all 4. I thought we saw all 4 for a second. Ah, and there's another shielded. Okay, that's game. Oh my god. Okay, so slightly better idea what we're playing as. It is indeed just mid-range. Going first, we do want to keep the Ragavan in. Their graveyard, it's keeping itself under wraps. We might want, over these discharges, just more Thoughtseizes. Especially going first, we can just rip their hands to shreds. Don't really want that Nightmare, though, so I'll play a 1 removal spell over it. I think we're going to have a really easy time on the play now. Like, I think their deck can absolutely be ripped to shreds by ours. We just need to have a reasonable hand here. Play first. Yeah, Thoughtseize into Peddler into Bowmasters. That is how you rip a deck to shreds. Alright, yep, let's go ahead and fetch black white here. And Thoughtseize them. We don't really have to care about our life total that much. We're going to be able to keep, like, Shieldreds and whatever off the board. Yeah. Okay, that is an interesting hand. So we could go for the good old Mana Screw play. I usually don't like doing this, right? I'm usually not a fan of like Thoughtseize to Mana Screw, but we absolutely like could do it here, which is funny. Because I'm gonna peddle their Shieldred, right? And we can use Bowmasters to answer Bowmasters. You have these marches kind of just chilling in their hand. Because I know I have Peddler for Shieldred, I think we will just take the Boggart Trawler here. It'd be annoying. Just be a menace to society. Then we could play Peddler, answer Shieldred, take an answer from them, use Bowmasters to kill their Bowmasters. That's about it. They have Fatal Push-Up, so what we can do is we can just flash in Bowmasters, especially now that we drew another one. I'm actually pretty inclined to do that. They can't draw Dark Ritual and another land at the same time, right? So there's no threat of a very early Shieldred coming out. They can get cooking with like the marches and the fatal pushes here, but sure, like I'm gonna let them do it. I really don't care. Alright, let's pedal them. Let's take that Shieldred. And there's your Necro Dominance. So, I think I'd rather take the Shieldred. Or would I? Oh, they've double March in hand. Maybe that was a mistake. I do have Bowmasters here, but guys, did I make a mistake? Was I supposed to take Necrodom? Because they now have multiple ways to recover the life, right? Not just the Shieldred, but the Marches as well. Keep up with what I want to do. A guide here. I like this guide to get hit by the March, not my Bowmasters, so I'm just gonna wait a sec to play Bowmasters. Ooh. Look at that. Mana. What are they gonna do with that? They're gonna pass and try to Bowmasters me in combat, that's fine. I am cool with that. I will be patient here. Lands to the bin. Okay, drawing mana, which is not great. Let's put Lurrus into our hand here and start like replaying Bowmasters and Peddlers. Put ourselves in a weird spot, to be honest. Let's see if they're marching my Guide of Souls or if something else is going to happen here. Get rid of the Necro. That could mean they drew another Necro. It could mean they're giving up on it. I think I'm going to play my Bowmasters here. Just get my little bit of life gain while I can. So they can Bowmasters answering my Bowmasters, but then we will just play Lurrus. And replay Bowmasters from the graveyard. So we'll have Bowmasters in play no matter what for when they inevitably do decide to do Necrodominance. Okay. They might be able to slow us down a little bit more effectively now. Ooh, Juggernaut Peddler. Very cool. We'll go ahead and try to attack you for 3. So they can march here, just pitching away some stuff. Pitching away another march. They have that Bowmasters that they're going to be counting on. I'm going to get rid of it. I really want to get rid of that because one of their best outs is drawing a land plus Necrodominance. And they want to use their Bowmasters to remove my Bowmasters in that case, right? We might die to Juggernauts here, though, which would be comical. Ooh! Best card imaginable. I'm just throwing it out. I think we want to get the board pressure on as quickly as possible. Even if there is a small mischance involved here. So the only mischance... Actually, no, there's quite a bit. We had Static Prisons and Swords in after we sideboarded, right? So maybe that was a little hasty of me. The good news here is... that's not that scary, especially considering we drew Ocelot Pride. Yeah, the opponent's going to scoop it up to that. Okay. Weird games. Definitely weird games. All right. We are on the draw with another, like, really sus one-lander. Sus one-lander's got to be my favorite. I think we're going to throw this one back since it's basic of all things. This one's a lot more powerful. We can go ahead, probably keep Sacred Foundry because I'm going to open on it and then use Marsh Flats to fetch whatever I want my second land to be. No Companion does tend towards an unfair deck, so this discharge might end up being a dead card. Misty Rainforest, no Companion. That's got to be Show and Tell, unfortunately. So game 1, we do just have to try to kill quick and hope that the Static Prison can buy us enough time. Show and Tell does play like a little bit more control magic than they used to. They actually do play Fatal Push in their main deck. They didn't used to. They do mostly play Mana Drain now. Some... or a lot of builds. I would even say most builds are playing 4 Mana Drain now. Some are playing Inquisition of Kozilek. So the matchup is not like as free as it used to be. You know, decks are constantly teching to beat each other, of course. If they just hold up 2 mana here, we might actually not want to play our Ajani. But thankfully, that is not Mana Drain mana. That is Demonic Tutor mana. And Bowmaster mana. I think here, I'm just going to play Sacred Foundry and play my Ajani. Since it's Bowmaster mana, I'm gonna accept the fact that this might not be Show and Tell. And not attack my Guide of Souls into the Bowmaster. I Again, I have really nothing telling me that it's show and tell beyond the fact that I'm seeing the right colors and no companion, but like it could just be a frog deck that doesn't have Lurrus. A frog with grief is something you could do. A Abhorrent Oculus is something you could do. Alright, another basic swamp, so probably not show and tell. They don't play multiple basics like that. Bilmerk! Alright, so it is indeed, yep, Oculus Psychic Frog. We called it, didn't we? Oh, right. And there's your good old Bowmasters here. You reanimate Oculus? Yeah. Alright. Yeah, so beginning upkeep, we didn't get a chance to discharge that at the right timing, but it's fine. We're just gonna Static Prison it instead, I believe. Ooh, Chthonian Nightmare. Now that is a cool one. I'm gonna go ahead and Static Prison this Oculus right here. And then we can go to combat and like fly our Guide of Souls. And flip the Ajani if we want, which is interesting, like with the discharge. I don't think we should or will. Yeah, let's attack like this. We're gonna fly Guide of Souls. Oh, we could just put Nightmare into play just to be mana efficient here. Just get a little bit more energy to work with as well. It looks like they have 0 mana interaction, or at least they covered like they did for a second. Yeah, eat basic black source here. I'm gonna play this. I know Bowmasters can do a little bit of damage here, but nothing crazy. I would say we're in a good position, but like there's a Bilmerk that's eventually going to hit the battlefield as a 5/5. We have energy upkeeps to pay. My opponent could be playing cards that aren't usually in the frog decks, not playing Lurrus, right? They could play a One Ring here, and I would feel very bad about my odds if they did that. This is pretty cooked, though, this list. Like the list I played. Except it's got Oculus in it, too. Interesting. Alright, we got an attack for 2. No blocks. Alright, now what? I'm eagerly awaiting whatever happens to us. You're digging. Oculus again. Alright. Ooh-wee. I yet again did not have mana up to stop this Manifest Dread in time. That's me being punished for playing that Nightmare and being mana efficient. I could have instead just held up my mana and gotten a Surveil land. Okay, let's pay. Let's take a look. What do you got going on over there? Just some Bowmasters? That's not that scary. Respectfully. We can go ahead and clear the Oculus here. Going to be a little sus on... we're going to just be a little sus here. If we clear that Oculus, right, we might run out of energy at some point in the near future. But I think we have to win this game quickly before this Bilmerk comes off suspend. I know it's not literally suspend, but we will call every mechanic suspend. Great, neat. We'll play this Marsh Flats. We will Surveil here. We do need like a creature or an energy card to show up off the top very soon. Otherwise, we are not going to be in for a good time. They're going to get their Oculus back, and it's going to be very bad for us, in fact. What they could do here is they could Bowmasters ping my Cat Warrior, actually, and kill the Ajani pretty clean. Well, they would kill the Ajani clean if I flipped it, so I would have to say no, which is something, I don't want to do. Like my Ajani to live. I could also, intentionally let the Ajani die, put it in my graveyard for Chthonian Nightmare purposes. I'm thinking too far ahead, and I don't have enough energy anyway. Also, I just had a thought. If I didn't play my Chthonian Nightmare, I would have had -3 energy, right? And I would have been able to shoot the Oculus anyway. Ha, I didn't misplay. I am smart. Alright, my opponent's going to go to 4 here. See what they do. Go to 2. Okay. Frog. We're frogging. It was me, Psychic Frog, all along. Alright, my opponent believes that they have to do this to win, I'm assuming. Oh yeah, they're gonna discard a bunch and fly the frog. Discard everything, really? Yeah, sure. Or do they have Oculus as their other card? That would make a bit of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. Okay. Triple Oculus is going to be tough to beat, I'll be honest. Let's see what's on top. It's got to be something good here. Give me another black source. Ooh. That is a good one. Good old Mardu luck. You always just draw the card you need. Oh, they cannot fly their Psychic Frog at this point, so... This is their only flying blocker. Hey. Here you go, opponent. Merry Christmas. And we attack for 3. Okay, okay. Woo! Alright, Frog Gamers are in full effect. This is a very different Frog deck than I'm used to, though. So against them, we want the Hearses. I think we want to pedal them. Some Juggernauts. I think turning some of these saucy cards into Juggernauts is pretty good. Portable Hole is a bit less good against them, though. Portable Hole is usually the technology against Frog decks, but this is not a Tameo Frog deck. This is a Go Bigger Frog deck playing Oculus. I would assume Grief. Is Portable Hole still worth it? I don't know. I think Ragavan is not worth it on the draw, and on the play we will think about playing him. And then we will run back something like this. It's kind of a heavy mana curve is my only concern. I think I'm still cool to run it back like this, though. Alright, yet another silly one-lander is tempting me. I'm going to mulligan this one. Even though the hand was pretty stacked, I really don't want to rely on the top of our deck to win the game like we did that one game against Mono Black. So we will keep this. This is a hand that puts on the pressure nice and quickly. Hopefully we can get under them. Hopefully they don't have the cards to interact with us quickly. They also did mulligan to 6 here. They will be Inquisitioning us to start. They take our Guide of Souls. We will instead just surveil our first turn. If they don't, we're going to be happy to play our Guide and get ready to get smacking. Right, they do end up taking a Johnny, so let's go ahead and smack down Guide of Souls. Probably do have an answer for this. I mean, they do have full info on my hand, so they can plan their next few turns and how they're going to line up their answers against me. Overlord of the Belmark. Alright, cool. So coast is clear for me to start cooking. No creatures hit. Very good news for us. And we hit another Bowmasters, so what I'm going to do is actually just aggressively slap this thing on the battlefield. I'm going to slap it. And hopefully my opponent thinks my Bowmaster is clear, and they play their own Bowmaster, and I get to kill it with mine. That would be the hope. Though killing Bowmasters isn't a super high priority when you're playing Mardu. This deck does not draw cards, really. Really doesn't draw cards at all. You'd have to do something kind of crazy like steal a card with Ragavan in order to literally draw a card with this deck. The opponent's going to be surveilling here. I'm not sure what they kept. Maybe they kept a really weird 6 that didn't go anywhere because they've just gotten like black sources, surveil, and not really do anything other than discard me. And leading on surveil, I would assume that they don't have much going on. Oh, okay. Where shall we hunt today, indeed? I wonder if I should rules check my opponent and like target their 2-1. Honestly, I want to target their 2-1 just to clear it, and that way I can get attacking with all my stuff. They do have removal. Okay, yeah. Did I rules check my opponent? Are we really here? Are we at this level of playing Magic? I think so. Because I can start attacking with my 2-2. Even if they don't choose to flip a Johnny. If they do choose to flip it, thank you. Thank you very much. They're thinking about it. They're Googling really frantically whether or not they get to keep control of the Ajani. I hope they don't think that. Okay. Arena gaming, I guess. Yeah, before I recorded, we got like a bunch of really high quality matches against like Frog and Mirrors, and I'm like, oh, whoa, let me record. We'll get some cool mirror gameplay in, and all the crazy skill decisions, and the little 1% difference makers, and yeah, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just slap your cards down, right? Let's go ahead and surveil here. Swords to get rid of that threat. I like it. Goodbye. We don't have a red permanent for a Johnny, so obviously we can't use him as removal. I'm just going to go as wide as possible. It's Mythic Deluge is a card that beats us, but I'm going to guess that an Oculus deck isn't necessarily playing that card. Yeah, I mean, I'm just playing fast, dudes. I'm checked out after I got my own Johnny back, man. Oh, my focus is gone. All right, well, we'll take the wins how we get them, though, right? All right, we're back. I embarrassingly forgot to record last game and talked into nothing for 10 minutes. We got matched against some off-meta, low-rank gamer. That's why our rank jumped up a little bit. It wouldn't have been interesting for the video anyway. They were playing something. Just guy something, we can call it. This game, we see Lurrus. Hopefully it's a very cool energy mirror to cap us off when we get to look smart in the YouTube video, right? This is a nice mix of answers and threats. Keep getting awkward mana. Even last game where I wasn't recording, I kept getting awkward mana where it was like 0 or 1 land hands I had to mulligan. Basics in my opener. It's such a weird patch of variance today I'm hitting. Anyway, let's see what we're on. Is this energy Lurrus? And we get the nice mirror match to end it up. It looks like that might be the case. These mirrors are always super fun. Like, they're legitimately hard, is what I tell people. Ooh, okay, it's Frog. Frog Gaming. We love frog gamers over here, don't we, folks? All right, let's just shoot this thing while it's small enough to be shot. And we'll net 1 energy here. And then we could think about how to navigate this game. We have 2 Ajani's in a bombardment, so we're probably jamming bombardment next turn unless they're holding up obvious counterspell mana. Also, starting with Overgrown Tomb is very interesting, so maybe this isn't Frog, maybe it's Boomerjund. This is everything. This is all the colors at once. Oh, nice. Very cool Fear of Missing Out Delirium kind of deck. We drew Arid Mesa. That's awesome. So what I want to do here is just play the Goblin Bombardment, and then next turn we'll play an answer, play an Ajani, and hopefully just like flip the Ajani and win the game. I do want to play Bombardment because they're very likely to have answers. They're playing every color in the game, of course. Wow. This is cool, though. It's definitely something different. Unfortunate for them, they cannot just like take my Ajani and be okay here. They do have Delirium, which is concerning. So won't have the easiest time answering them. But what I could do is like prison this and then like ping 0, ping this. So I can clean up the board. They might even take prison here. It'd be very interesting if they did, and it might even be correct. Yeah, they gotta think, right? Because they can't just take 1 Ajani and be okay. So then I would have an Ajani no matter what. So do they leave me with 2 Ajanis? Well, then they lose the long game, right? Yeah, smart thinking. They take prison. So now I don't have a clean 1-mana answer to their threats. I'm hoping to draw a Bolt or a removal spell. Alright, the Mardu luck did not apply this time. I think what I'm going to do is play Amthraptor here. Controversial opinion to not immediately jam and flip the Ajani. But I think we try to build a board state here and get our board wide, and then we'll 4 mana so that we can actually double Ajani up next. He hits the removal spell. He always does. He's just a lucky bastard is what he is. We're going to go for the FOMO because this can double up their combat damage. It's scary. Because we are getting beat down. If my opponent wins, it's going to be very soon. If we get a chance to like play and flip all these Ajanis, then, you know, forget about it. Game's over. Maybe I could have played Godless Shrine tapped, actually. I value Surveillance maybe way too much. I'm obsessed with them. Because we go to 10, and then if I shock here, we go 7. That's so low, dude. That's like Tribal Flames territory. And if I died to Tribal Flames on video, I would get made fun of. Oh my god, another one. We're going to shock. And if I died to Tribal Flames on video, then, you know, so be it.
Fight beside me, brother.
Alright, do that.
A dark plot ties our feast. Nothing can break our bond. More join our cause.
Do I double flip a Johnny, actually? We could just flip the second one. I think I want to keep him in reserve and just, like, decline twice. I just want this DRC really, really dead. I could have flipped the second Ajani and then zeroed it to kill DRC, but I think I'd rather have an extra Ajani in play. I mean, I have another Ajani in hand, right? Maybe that was a little extra for me to not want to flip him. Alright, there's Bestie coming through. So yeah, now they kill my Ajani, and I can just Legend Rule.
Betray own people.
I'm sorry, opponent. Like, I just had all the Ajanis this game. There's nothing you can do about it. Very cool. Jund even splashing blue Delirium. Cool stuff. Alright, we go to 6. We're not dead to Tribal Flames yet. Dead to Double Bolt? Maybe. We can get another Ajani back if we play Lurrus. That would be 4 Ajani's cast this game. Breakout, scary. I don't think we have a big trampler that they can kill me with, though. I've been wrong before, though, so let's see what they got. Very cool deck, though. Just Domain, Breakout. I played some similar stuff before in the past. I'm a big fan of this sort of stuff. Before we had Bestie and FOMO, so yeah, you know, maybe we should revisit this. I had a Breakout deck with Kavu in it a while ago. And it was roughly this stuff, except it didn't have like these more recent like juiced up threats, didn't have the Delirium package. Very interesting. Be done to play it. It looks like they hit multiple things, by the way, so they got to think about this decision. What could possibly keep them in the game? It's hard to beat an Ajani that's on the battlefield, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's no right answer. So, this is Lurrus, correct? Yes, we didn't see Lurrus, but it is a Lurrus deck. So, wrong one. We went Portable Hole. Why are my Portable Holes split? I don't know. Great question. You ask too many questions. And then we take out the discard. Keep Ragavan in. Yeah, I don't think they're playing Bowmasters in this deck. I'm going to guess they aren't. If they are, then oh well, they get my free Ragavan here. But I'm not... Oh, actually, Hearse over Ragavan. Because the thing is, against non-Bowmaster creature decks, and creature decks that don't make tokens like Boros Energy, I do like him a lot because he ends up trading for a legitimate creature or a removal spell, rather than just like a token or a Bowmaster ping. But I guess on the draw, we could play our Hearses, and then we'll judge their deck a little bit more, and then on the play, we'll play him over, like, Bowmasters. Honestly, on the draw, we'll play him over Bowmasters, too. He's just a good card. We'll give him his chance. Alright, yeah, we got all the answers here. We're just gonna keep this. Like, my opponent is here to put on the beatdown. We are here to contain them. Ooh, wait, I want to play that. We don't have to play that yet. The thing is, I have so much weight in my hand. I actually feel like I should be playing that. Because we want to fetch, like, a basic Plains here. I'm gonna play that. And then we could fetch, like, red, white, and discharge. Or just do some Portable Holes. I do really want to discharge this. It's so efficient. Oh, would you look at that? The video game is playing itself for me. Hashtag lucky every time. Alright, give me that good old Sacred Foundry. I don't care about life loss anymore, dude. I got Guide Pride. And we have the energy to fly our Guide of Souls. It's too good to be true, in fact. Something. Okay, you know what? We had the bad lands, the bad hands, the mulligans earlier this video, including like off camera, dude. Like I got 0 land hands. I had the mulligan against Jeskai Hate Bears something. Silver. I don't think it was silver. He was like flat or something. It was embarrassing. I almost lost. The Mardu luck is finally back and in full effect. All right, sick. I think we just like double Portable Hole them here. Play you. Portable Hole, Portable Hole. Like, it's hard to go wrong here. We could, instead of Portable Holing, just like chill for a turn and like surveil here. It would also save us some life. Right? Yeah, because we have to shock in order to get white. I'm chilling. We're at 17. We can get hit for 3. And then maybe there's something bigger for Portable Hole. Everyone's going to look at my Portable Hole and says, who plays Portable Hole in Timeless in 2024? Guess what? Mardu Energy does now. It's the innovation. It's the technology. Wait, we went up 40 ranks for that one? That's big, dude. Actually, we might actually finish top 250 this season. I didn't think I was going to do it, but like I've won like a bunch of games in a row. And I keep getting paired against off-meta stuff. Let's do one more for the video. I'm in a good mood. I hope we get something super meta. All right, what's going on? We got a Lurrus Mirror again. All right, no answers and removal spells in our hand, which is a little sus, but if it's Frog Lurrus with Brainstorms in it, we do have double Bowmasters, which is dope. We also just have like a good curve that starts at 1. We got things to do every turn. I'm happy enough with this. My opponent did keep 6, and it's Arid Mesa. We got the energy mirror I asked for, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see how it goes. Cool. So they decided to just shock instantly. So the telegraphs that they have a removal spell. Maybe they're trying to get in my head because they're see my name and they're playing against me. And they know it's going to be an energy mirror. But that's going to make me be very hesitant to play Guide Pride here. I'm going to wait for them to use those removal spells. We're getting peddled. That's fine. My hand is getting peddled against my will. They probably take a Johnny, but we have Guide Pride, so there's an argument to take Guide here. Yeah, I do take Guide. Alright, let's go ahead and get black-white here. Fourth land. Don't need it yet. If we incidentally draw fourth land, it's fine, but average draw is better right now. Bombardment. Yeah, I think we just jammed the turn 2 bombardment, and my opponent's going to be mad we drew that. Because, like, you absolutely peddle this card if this card was in my hand. Alright. Good old Mardu luck coming through. And then next turn, what we can do is we just, like, play Pride Ajani, and, like, we get to flip the Ajani. Pretty guaranteed. Alright, Nightmare. Nothing to bring back yet, so they must have like a really awkward hand if they're just throwing out nightmares. A little awkward with the fetching for me. Maybe I could have paid a bit more attention because I gotta fetch. Actually, I don't have to fetch white. We could fetch basic swamp. Yeah, I don't want to take too much self-damage here. We're gonna play Pride, then we're gonna play Ajani. This way a single removal spell can't prevent me from flipping my Ajani. Multiple things to ping with. Let's ping you. Because we will have 2 damage going Peddler side, and if they try to remove my Ajani, I'll ping again with Ocelot Pride on Peddler so we can still kill it. I feel like they definitely do have the swords. Yeah, they're gonna point it at Ajani. But we do get to flip him here. That's why we played the Pride first. We let all the triggers resolve so that there were 2 cats in place so that we could play around this exact moment. Alright, see, this is good for the video. This is educational. It's big. Alright, and I think the game is like 90+% in our favor, unless they have like an answer for Johnny chill in their hand. Like they have the discharge. They kind of need to have that right now. Like they can like play something, bring back Peddler, peddle me, but like who cares? Here's what my hand is. I have active Ajani. They just shock fetched down to 7. I mean, shock fetching tells me they probably have a way to saturate their mana. Do they have their own Ajani bombardment? That would be pretty killer. Bowmasters, okay. So if they ping my token, we're going to ping back. This. When you ping back like that, they don't get the token because that trigger fizzles. And then, yeah, they can flip their Ajani, but they can't do damage. That is gonna be fine. This Nightmare is gonna be very annoying to work around long term. I think instead of removing Ajani, we just remove them. Actually, we should have enough damage to do it, right? Yeah, we'll have just barely enough with the Bowmaster ping. Oh no, we won't. We'll have plenty enough. We'll actually be able to do 9. I wasn't counting the hypothetical creature that I'll make later. And in fact... Oh, I didn't need to do that. I was like, oh, 1 more mana. I can do 1 more thing. Alright. You're dead either way. Alright, goodbye, opponent. City's Blessing. Who cares? Let's go to game 2. Alright, game 2. We know what we gotta do. We have the technology. We put Portable. They're probably on the same list as us. Like, we should not bring in hearses against other versions that are like really in on the graveyard. Like they're playing Flage, or they're playing like 4 Nightmares. Sure, you could bring in the hearse, but I really don't love it. Just here, and then we end up sideboarding like this. Going second, sometimes I like the Peddlers over the Ragavans. In fact, that's actually what I'm gonna do here. Yeah, going second, you could do Peddlers or hearses over Ragavans. I like doing that a lot. All right, opponent goes first. We got the removal. We got the Recursion, we got the Bombardment, we got the Guided Souls. I mean, we got good cards, right? Chthonian Nightmare is very, very, very good at the mirror, by the way. Like, it was scary to see it in game 1. It's one of the better cards you can have. It's just not a 4-of or anything, because it's not great against a lot of other decks. Against the combo deck, it's just too deadly. And Goblin Bombardment exists in the same slot. And I believe in the deck tech, we went over how I'm kind of lamenting that there's too many 2-drops in this deck. Like, I'd love to play 4 Peddlers as well, but it's just too much. Alright, hey, advice. Never dash your Ragavan on turn 2. Please, it's sanity. Thank you. It's better things to do with your mana. What's sad is that, like, we can't, like, properly deal with this Ragavan, and next turn they're going to have enough mana to use him. So I think we might just trade Guide of Souls for him. That's going to feel really bad. Or we just play Goblin Bombardment and get hit. That's going to feel worse. Alright, what are we doing here, chat? We have a bad hand against this Ragavan. We could play Guide of Souls, try to block it. They are almost definitely going to have removal. So what I think we could do is play Guide of Souls after we play Bombardment. And then we at least get a ping. And hopefully we draw like another creature. I'd love another creature right about now. So them dashing Ragavan this turn is actually good, considering I tapped out, they have extra mana, said they're not gonna. Whatever. Oh, there we go. No, you're supposed to dash it before you play your cards, so you have mana to spend. Sorry. Anyways, can I draw a creature, please? I don't want to lose. Thanks, dude. Probably fetch basic planes here. Actually, I think I just want to, like, cook this Guide of Souls right now, right? No, because I need to Swords Ragavan if I don't get to ping him. Yeah. That's the plan. The plan is pings Ragavan. What are you doing? Oh, you're gonna kill my guide this way? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we gotta Swords the Ragavan. Unfortunate. If we draw another creature, though, we're legit off to the races because we have our Nightmare. Actually, I don't know about fetching basic planes anymore because I need Nightmare mana. I need a black source. But, like, we're running out of HP fast. Alright, no Dash Ragavan for once. We will be seeing a normal speed Ragavan. I might just fetch a Black-White Surveil to make sure we draw something. It's fine, I'll take 1 damage. I'll fetch up a Black-White Surveil here. No Ragavan? What's he cooking? I should Swords this then. What? Oh, I'm kind of recording. Yes, I wanted a good mirror. Whoa, I went up a lot of ranks. That's so strange because, like, when I was right around 250, I was going up only like 10 ranks at a time, and I was like, oh, geez, getting above 250 is going to be hard. Like, going 300 to 250 took like 5 games. But then going from 250 to 165 was 2 games? That's so strange. I guess there's a bunch of people right at the hump. So am I safe for 250 tomorrow? Doesn't say. 18 hours. I'll play 1 or 2 more games after recording. But yeah, that's Mardu. Smashing the mirror matches, as we could see. I wish we had a better mirror match on camera, because they are, like, really, really interesting. I did make another video, like, a month ago on mirrors. It is very interesting. This is the state of the deck. I updated the sideboard guide on Moxfield recently, too. Like, a week ago. So this version is the version that has the sideboard guide now. I updated all the matchups to what you currently see in Timeless. Of course, the deck can change and will change. Like, for example, if you're not seeing too many unfair decks on ladder, what you could do is you could take these Thoughtseizes, you can actually, like, remove them from the deck, and you could just play, like, 4 Swords to Plowshares in the deck instead of playing Thoughtseize in the main. Or you could play extra Ragavans or something else like that, for instance. I've heard some people are portable holding in the main. That's cool. You could maybe, I don't know, cut that in. Yeah, I was thinking of reconfiguring the deck a little bit, because I'm not sure if I'm in love with main deck Thoughtseize. And Nightmare is also like mid sometimes. So I was thinking this. Did I say this in the deck tech? I can't remember if I said it or if I thought about saying it before I started recording. And then make the main deck look like this. These 3 cards cut. Probably a Thoughtseize to the sideboard. Nightmare is just not in the list anymore at this point. Something like this. I don't know. The world is your oyster. Play with the deck. If you love the deck, feel free to tweak it, innovate. Join the Discord if you do have thoughts on things. You could tell me I'm an idiot for playing multiple tap lands and multiple basics as we saw today. That's fine. I accept the criticism, but I won't change my ways. This is how I build mana bases. Everyone's got their own little quirks, right? All right, that's it. If you do want to talk about Mardu, get in the Discord. We talk about it. Actually, not that much there because the deck's kind of solved. But if you do have questions, I will answer like literally anything you ask me in there. And if you have innovations or suggestions, absolutely let me know. I'm very interested in any sort of innovation with this deck because like thought about how to move the energy archetype forward a bit lately. I've even like gone back to the drawing board and tried color pairs other than Mardu recently. And I at least couldn't think of anything that really, broke through the ceiling and got us to the next level. It's just more of this with some slight variations. So if you have big ideas, even if they're like crazy stupid ideas like, oh, what if we went ahead and played Abzan Energy with Birthing Ritual? I bet it's better. Here's me playing a bunch of games. I'm happy to hear that because it's ideas. I love ideas. And if you back your ideas up with data, then I'm always going to entertain it. All right. That's it from me. If you want to hear me yap more, get in the Discord. See you later, guys. Bye.